If you're a part of BNI, you at one point in time were probably invited to the organization by someone. Now, I know there's a small percentage of people that find BNI on their own, but most of us were invited. And so, to continue that idea of giving and helping others out, we need to continue to invite. However, some people are a little uncomfortable or maybe even shy when it comes to inviting. Hi, my name is Tiffanie Kellog, and I'm super excited to be joined today by Scott, who is going to talk to us about don't be shy about inviting. But before we get into the inviting conversation, Scott, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from?
Oh, Tiffany, nice to talk to you today. I'm Scott. I am in Glasgow in Scotland, and I'm a professional magician.
Ooh, are we going to get a little bit of magic before the day
What
is done?
I thought maybe could we do a little motivational magic for Monday? Is that okay with you?
Oh, I love the idea of motivational magic for Monday.
Because since we're talking to you, you see, I thought, could people do talking to Tiffany? How could that help? Well, here's the thing. This is kind of how your Monday goes, right? You get up, get your first coffee, which is very important to me. But then what happens is you switch on the laptop or whatever device and you start getting those emails through. And all of a sudden you get these like little roadblocks kind of getting in your way. So you go through your day, and all of a sudden, there's a little blocker which is stopping you from being productive, stopping you from getting on with your business. Now, these roadblocks are real, but fortunately, we do have people like Tiffany. And when you get to the point where you're stuck, then if you talk to Tiffany, she can show you, oh, even if you feel like trapped, she can show you that you can still navigate through any roadblocks just like this. And it's just about a little bit of Monday mindset to get you through the trap, through the block, to get you on to your productive day.
Nice, awesome. I love it. I think we should start all of our videos with a
I
little
think
bit of
so.
magic. So, if y'all have not figured it out yet, our guest today, Scott, in addition to being a 10-year area director in Scotland, he is a magician. He's been full-time professional performer for over 20 years. He's taken his magic all over the UK, into Europe, at a host of prestigious private and corporate events, performing everywhere from front rooms to castle, high-speed trains, and paddle steamers on the Thames. His magic is fun, interactive, and above all, incredibly entertaining, as y'all just saw. And he's great at weaving it into the conversation that's being had. His goal is to make certain, no matter what the event your guest will be having, it's an amazing experience. Now, something that some people don't know about him is he was a producer for an international magic show with a live audience of 3,000 people. That's a lot of folks.
It's a lot of folks. And just at the end of the show, my wife and son were in the audience and they said, come backstage at the end of the show and introduce you to the cast. So when I went to backstage or to me and opened up the door, there was a huge crowd of people there. And the door opened, they all went, and they saw me and went, oh, because nobody knew who I was, but it was an amazing, amazing experience.
Awesome, awesome, very, very cool. And said, love it, Scott. Thanks so much for
Hey,
getting us started. And speaking about getting started, we are here today to talk about don't be shy about inviting. So, kind of give us a little bit of your background. How did you get involved in BNI? What did that look like? Why is inviting important to you?
Well, here's the thing. I came in a kind of little roundabout way, and what happened was my ED, Rob, was at Global Conference, and there was a speaker on stage having this conversation. Let's stop prejudging people about who we invite, because we
Mm,
think to ourselves, we'll invite them because they'll join. And sometimes we miss a lot of great people out by doing that because we prejudge. And she introduced a professional magician who had come to meet and nobody expected him to join, but joined and then became a director.
mm.
So Rob, my ED, he came back to Glasgow, had his meeting with his ambassadors and his DCs and said, does anybody know a magician? One of them said yes and was asked, have you invited them to BNI? And the answer was no. Why not? No, anyway, he came to me and said, would you like to come? Now, at the time, I hated networking. Really hated networking, Tiffany, because nobody believes what I do is a real job, right? I actually went to one event and somebody said to me, what's a magician doing at a business event? right? So because they don't feel that what I do contributes. But anyway, I digress. So I went along to this BNI meeting, and wow, it was amazing. Now, first of all, it was very kind of suits heavy. We had 3 different solicitors, accountants, stocks and shares, banks, all these people. And I do card tricks for a living, but at no point did I feel left out. At no point did I feel I wasn't as important as they were. And the best part was, like I say, my experience from networking is nobody believes what I do is a real job. When I spoke, they leant forward and started writing things down about me, which made me feel like really, really good. And I thought, yeah, I want to be here. What's that done for me in 10 years? Well, here's the thing. This thing that happened a couple of years ago, remember, we all had to stay home.
Oh, yes.
If it wasn't for BNI, that would have wiped me out. It would have ended my business. But my friends in BNI, especially our special global team that we're a part of, Tiffanie, found me virtual magic shows around the world. So I did events in Canada, in Malaysia, Cambodia, just basically all around the world doing virtual magic shows. Even BNI Global, they had one of their town halls Christmas week and asked me to do a spot in that and demanded I get paid for it. Because obviously, you do it for that and you think, you know what, happy to help that kind of level. But they said, no, we need to pay for it. So when you bring somebody into BNI, it's a life changer for many people. It has been for me. I mean, who'd have thought I'd be training people and doing networking, right? As an MSP trainer, who thought that would happen? I've managed to go to the global conference last year in Singapore, which again, every time I do something like that, it's making me a better business person. All being in BNI. If BNI hadn't happened for me, who knows where I'd be? And the worst thing is, Tiffanie, that if I hadn't been in BNI, I wouldn't be talking to you today.
Yeah, we would have never connected.
That's it, right? So my point is that sometimes we think of visitors like this. We ask them to do us a favor by coming to the meeting, right? No, we're doing them a favor by letting them come to our meeting because they've got the opportunity to meet a group full of people who want to help other people, right? They've got an opportunity to come in, even if they're not going to join. And let's not worry about whether they're joining or not. It's up to them and if the meeting suits them. So there's lots of little businesses out there, especially in entertainment like I do. We're just little one-man bands, but we can offer a lot because coming into BNI, I have a massive contact sphere of corporate clients that I work for that I can put people in touch with. And so do these other little businesses. In my time, I've seen dog walkers coming into BNI who are amazing people. We just love them. Musicians coming into BNI. We actually have, we could start a BNI magic circle. In fact, during lockdown, we got together 5 BNI magicians and we put on the BNI Magic World Tour. 5 magicians from 5 different countries did a live Zoom show globally between us. I wouldn't have got to do that without BNI. So bringing people into BNI is an opportunity for them to get business, to get more than that, to get a real buzz and an energy and a feeling that they're not on their own out there, that there are groups that they can be a part of or at least be able to network with to keep their business going. It does make a big difference. So don't think that company's not big enough. Don't think that person's not big enough. They can decide for themselves once they've seen the meeting, but bring them along because you could change somebody's life by doing that.
Yeah, I think about Darren who invited me and what my life has done. Because I owned a promotional products company, lived in Tampa, knew hardly anybody. Now I was able to move on and sell that business. Now I get to travel, mostly virtual, but around the globe speaking. And I was afraid if they would have told me I had to talk for 30 seconds at BNI, I would not have gone to my first meeting because I was petrified to speak in public. And I hear stuff like that quite frequently. I've met my best friends, like it's a couple, my husband likes both of them. We traveled together. We just went to Maine. We're going to Vegas later this year. They came from BNI. I mean, so much of my world, 18 years ago, last month is when I got involved in BNI.
Wow.
And yeah, it's like, okay, getting to meet all of these people makes such a huge difference. So sometimes we might actually be impacting people by not inviting them. We do have a little bit more love coming from our chat. So for any of you watching out there on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or YouTube, we would love to have you. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to pop those into the chat box. So we've talked a little bit about why we need to invite. And you mentioned something of, it's not your job to get the members to join. Like I always say to people, it's not about the applications. It's about you invite them to the meeting. The meeting's in place, the president, the visitor host, the membership committee, they're about getting the right members to join. To me, just invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring people, because my wife, originally she came along as my sub, right? And then when she subbed for me, the other people in chapter asked her to sub for them. And she was come along and joined. She joined, about maybe 18 months after me. And she's now a DC for BNI as well, right? And it just shows that, and when she went along, people didn't think she would want to join because she was in the curtain soft furnishing business, a very small business with her mum. But what you get out of it is way bigger than just the business. And like you said, you've got lifelong friends through BNI. And now, because of the way they innovated, we have global friends. Yeah. And we're just off a meeting with a bunch of global friends that we have. Yeah. So it's don't let people miss out.
There is one gal, she's no longer with BNI. She's since kind of moved on to a new field, doing something different. But for a decade, she would bring, I think she averaged like a visitor and a half a meeting.
Oh, wow.
Like she would bring, like she met somebody, even if they weren't a good fit for the chapter, who could be in the room for them. And so that was just a natural part of her continuous conversation. And every year, who's leading in the most visitors, and she's bringing 60, 70, 75 visitors a year, and let them decide. So I wanted to see if you have a couple tips or tricks for us to make inviting easier.
Well, one of the easy ways to do it is who's doing the feature presentation at your chapter next week? Who would be a great member of their power team? Again, it's not like about making them join, but bring somebody in who's in that power team, has clients that they can share and they can talk about, and there's business can be done. So bring in people or invite people who can help out whoever's doing your feature presentation. That's a really, really easy one because it's a great in. But to be honest, what I do is I just go to events or meet people and say, what is it you do? Okay, what are you doing next week? Come along and meet my amazing team I'm part of and talk about your business. I don't even tell them they get 60 seconds. I just say, come along and meet them and see if you enjoy it. And that's it. And in my chapter, I'm one of the visitor hosts as well. So I know that there's no pressure being applied to anyone. There's no thumb screws. It's all good. So if anybody,
I was looking because we have a podcast on how to get 10 visitors to your featured presentation. So I'm gonna go find that number and put it in here. While you tell us, Scott, if we want to know more about you, if we want to find out more about you, how can we do that?
Well, if you want to find me on Facebook, it's Scotland's Magician. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, it's Scotland's Magician. On Instagram, you can find me at Scotland's Magician. Oh, and the website is also Scotland's Magician. So basically, you can find me all those ways there. And please get in touch. Please get in touch. Say hello, because I'm really happy to chat back and forth with people and to meet new people. Let me know what it is you do, because Tiffanie, the things that she does is incredible, right? And when you have like that first one-to-one, you're just kind of scratching the surface. It's getting to know, and you only do that over time.
I think it does take time. You can't do it just at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So here's the podcast that I was going to mention. Scott mentioned inviting people for the featured presenter. Here's how to get 10 visitors to your next featured presentation. A little bit different take on his sharing of inviting to hear the speaker. This is inviting when you're the speaker, but I think the answer is yes and both.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's much easier to say, hey, you want to come hear the speaker? I like to call it sometimes backdoor inviting.
Okay.
Probably better in the English, in the American language of the English version of it. You know how it goes when we go international,
Yes, I know. And that's what I've loved about doing these virtual magic shows around the world. You're talking to an audience in Malaysia and they're all speaking English. And I'm wondering, do these gags work? So I put in these terrible gags anyway, just to see if anybody laughs and gets it, so they are amazing. There's some amazing people out there.
Yes, definitely. Well, do you want to leave us one last tip or trick that you have up your sleeve on inviting and really making the most of inviting?
Well, in BNI, we talk power teams, and we've got maybe 6 power teams around. Have a really good story for each power team, so whether it's a trades power team getting together to do something, or it's the marketing power team getting to do something. So when you're talking to somebody, because people come up and they say, because they see your pin, your little BNI badge, and they say, so what's this BNI thing? And think, well, here's an example, and tell a story, because you know what? Stories tell it way better than anything else. So tell a story. But if you've got a story lined up for each of the power teams, that's a really easy way in, because I always follow the story up with, look, it's even easier. Come and see. But just come and see it for yourself, and then you can see if it's for you. If it's for you, fantastic. If it's not for you, fantastic. But at least you've got a group of people there that you can connect with.
Yeah, I love this, and just the ease that we take off of people's shoulder of just invite, have them come out. Yeah. That's all we're looking for. Because I'm sure you and I both, and many people watching, have probably before gotten business from a visitor or a guest that never joined.
Yep, absolutely. Been there just 2 weeks ago. Yep, 2 weeks ago. I did a gig for someone who came as a guest. They weren't going to join, but not only did they get that gig, but I've got another 3 gigs lined up for them.
Nice. Yeah. I love it. And Greg says, thank you, Scotland's magician. And he's been one of our worldwide director consultant, BNI fellow members. And I also want to say thank you so very much for being here. As we talked a little bit about, don't be shy about inviting. I sometimes, when I'm inviting people, I just ask them, do you want to come or not? I use different languaging, but do you want to come? And in my mind, it's like I'm asking if they want a piece of gum. It's not going to break my heart if they say yes or no, unless the breath is kicking. But I'm at least just going to ask. Keep it simple. So to learn more about Scott, you can find Scotland's magician. He is out there all over the place for amazing events. And he is, again, really great at weaving that theme of the show today, or he did a little video for us for our summit last year, weaving it into the magic. And so it really helps enhance the presentations. So thank you so much, Scott, for being here.
Thank you so much, Tiffanie. It's been a massive pleasure. And thanks to you guys for joining in.
Yes. Thanks all y'all. Next week, we will be joined by Jarmo from the Philippines as we have another conversation to help you maximize your BNI membership. So with that, I will say happy networking, y'all.